And we're back, guys, now that we have our pieces laid out so we can actually evaluate them and look at some of the finer pieces pulled out of those two bricks that we opened up earlier. I think we're going to start off very wonderfully and with the particular character, Superman. This one, the uniquely Superman Blue version. Now, this character has a rather wonderful trait that you're going to see a lot in this set. The wait, that's not Superman. Wait, that's not Superman allows you to take a character from your sideline, such as Superman Blue, and assuming you have Superman or Superboy already on your build, you can replace the character with the Superman or Superboy as long as it's an equal or higher point value. Now, that's a really good scenario if you look at your opponent's team and decide that the team you built is not just yet perfect to play your opponent. And this one particularly has a wonderful piece in that one of his great traded abilities is red energy absorption and release. Now, this allows Superman Blue to use Force Blast, not a bad ability, but the key on this really is that Superman Blue and adjacent friendly characters ignore damage dealt by Pulse Wave, and this ability can't be ignored. As we were talking about earlier, this is really powerful because he has a 50-point starting option. 50-point starting option allows...
You just got like a shield against Pulse Wave, 50 points, good luck, you can't Pulse Wave me anymore. So it really shuts it down as well as...
So you surround him with your own Pulse Wavers, and they can all Pulse Wave together in decimating your opponent.
It's a pretty powerful use of 50 points. But if you want to go a little bit higher, you can run him at 125 points, and he has a pretty decent starting dial there with Running Shot, Energy Explosion, Energy Shield Deflection, and I believe, yeah, that is in Power. So with a range of 7 and 2 Lightning Bolts, he's a pretty decent range, figure at that higher point value. But at 50 points, you really can't ignore how he can ignore Pulse Wave. But keep in mind, this is an A piece. There is a B. You might be able to track down the Superman Red out there and find a rather interesting counter ability. We're not sure just yet.
All right, we've got the new Dr. Fate, and I've always been a Dr. Fate fan. And with this Dr. Fate comes a new keyword called Wonders of the World. And Wonders of the World allow you to give a character using this team ability.
The ATA, Mike.
The ATA, yes. A power action to heal an adjacent friendly character with 1 click. Now, if the adjacent friendly character has the new Wonders of the World ATA, you can heal them with 2 clicks. But that will create 1 unavoidable damage for the character that was doing the healing. Still, it's pretty good. I don't know the extent of the Wonders of the World keyword, where it's going to be, or how many we're going to have, but there's got to be some lower point ones out there that'll kind of be sacrificial lambs for this. And it could turn out to be pretty good. The top dial on Fate, he's got 13 movement with phasing teleport, energy shield deflection, and his special damage ability. He can use probability control, give Dr. Fate a power action, and modify the attack values of all other friendly characters by +1 this turn. It's pretty good. I can see him for 110 points, and Mystic's team ability, he's going to see some play on my teams.
Well, and on that note, I do want to point also the Wonders of the World. Well, it is a 5-point ATA, which can get a little pricey depending on how your team is built with what keywords. It is a much better version of the X-Men team ability, if I'm correct on that. So, let's see what Tony has over here.
All right, we'll start off with Lana Lang here. Really neat for, like we mentioned earlier, I think this is the first time we've actually seen her in Clix form. And she played at a 50 or 20-point line. So 20-point line, I think she has about 3 clicks of life. But at the 50-point, she has her trait where she can transform into the Insect Queen. So she'll get a lot stronger, and halfway through her dial become this kind of powerhouse. So
For 50 points?
For 50 points, yeah.
Well, and I mean, it's been a while, I feel, since we've last seen transformation in Heroclix. It was something that was regularly seen in some of the sets about 3 or 4 years ago, but it's nice to see a return to that because it allows the sideline to once again be more important, as we're seeing with the wait, that's not Superman ability. But on top of that, it allows you to adjust to your opponents, something that you see in many card games and other various games where sideboards are a very important part. Heroclix really hasn't seen that in the modern era over the past 2 years, I would say.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So, on the note of going over that wonderful new ATA of the Wonders of the World, let's look at another character who has that. the Atom. This is one of the Colossals we pulled earlier. Very beautiful sculpt. I mean, it looks almost like a McFarlane action figure. Down to the veins and the muscles, you'll see the just the effects of the cloth on him. Once again, the beautiful clear effect that we've been seeing a lot more recently in Heroclix. But on top of that, you have that really, really wonderful Colossal Retaliation. And this Colossal Retaliation is great. So in the case of this one, you can give a free action to this character if no other Colossal Retaliation power has been used by you this turn. At that point, you can place the Atom where you'd be able to make a close combat attack targeting a chosen character. And then you're going to do an area of effect that includes all other characters within 2 squares of the target, making it so opposing characters can't use combat reflexes, shape change, super senses, and then are dealt 2 penetrating damage if they are hit by his attack. And a very, very, very powerful attack done at just 15 points. And at 15 points, just to give you an idea of how easy it is to pull off this attack, you're going to be running that with an 11 attack. Very, very easy to pull off on most characters, and that can be crippling to your opponent's team for 15 points. But on the starting dial, which, I mean, for a Colossal looking at 300 points is not that high, you're starting off with a 10 movement with charge, nothing wrong there, 11 in super strength. You have 19 in vulnerability, which is always solid, yeah. And 4 damage with exploit weakness. So you're going to just pound through your opponents very, very quickly with this piece. You want to scoff at him as being the Colossal, but he's actually a really, really solid piece. But my favorite ability comes with his special movement, Smothering Hole. Not only does he have sidestep, which is always useful, particularly with Colossals, he has plasticity. And his plasticity comes with a 1 damage penetrating poison. At the beginning of your turn, deal 1 penetrating damage to all adjacent character or opposing characters. But if somebody tries to break away from that, which imagine we all would want to do, and they fail, which would also be very easy thanks to the plasticity this man has, you're going to be dealing 1 penetrating damage to anybody who fails that breakaway. So, a rather wonderful piece at 300, 200, 150, 100, or even 15 points.
Let's see that.
Should we hop into the other Colossal? I mean, we already talked about one.
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
Note that we stole the Colossal away from Tom for this.
Always.
So here we have the Angry Monkey Titan. Really excited about this character. He's a fun one overall, and like we mentioned earlier, he does have an interchangeable head, which, looking through the card, actually is not in.
Yeah, the camera didn't hear that one, Tom. Go ahead and repeat it loud.
I just want to know if Tony ripped the heads off his Barbie dolls as a kid.
I did, and they would all be interchangeable.
Nice. Did they have lasers too?
They did.
Okay,
yes.
good.
Just like he'll be a perfect collection of Barbies. Anyways, so it's actually just for flavor on this one. I thought it would work like the Sentinels with the attack and defense mode, but it's just more you could, it doesn't really affect it at all. However, about halfway through his dial, he changes from a melee beast to a ranged monster. So that's where you want to go from Angry Monkey to Laser Blast.
What dial does that actually switch out on?
That switches at 6 or at his 200 point value. So at 250, he starts out with super strength and 5 damage with 11 attack, 11 speed for that charge. So he'll get pretty far. And I mean, you can throw an ultra heavy on that, you're doing 8 damage to your opponent. Or you can drop him down to his 200 value and turn him into a Pen Psychic Blast Laser Monkey. So he actually has a really cool trait to him as well that works well with Lois Lane. Basically, when a friendly Lois Lane moves after action resolve, he can move as a free action as well. And when a friendly character named Lois makes an attack targeting opposing after action resolve, Titano can make a close combat attack as a free action. So it's called Monkey See Lois, Monkey Do. So Lois does something, the monkey's sure to follow.
Nice.
And I have to point out that I really like the low cost of these Colossals. It's not something you've really seen as much in the past, where it will have a lower point value. Most of these guys starting high point values are actually still affordable enough to get in your average modern tournament. I mean, even, Realm of Champions, you can probably rock these guys pretty easily.
Those are 15 points. All right, I've got the common prime, Captain Atom, and it's a pretty solid piece from beginning to end. He's got an odd keyword here, super buddies. You have not seen before. Maybe you can shed some light on the super buddies.
I really want to say the Super Buddies was that J.M. DeMatteis, Keith Giffen run of I Can't Believe It's Not Justice League and
Four-man Super Friends? Is that what's going on?
They literally were a Justice League that worked out of a strip mall, believe it or not. But it was actually probably one of the darkest and most comedic times for the Justice League. But I'm not 100% that's where the Super Buddies were. I feel that was more than likely what they were. I'd probably have to look that up later.
Yeah, well, make sure you do. Get back to us. All right, he's got a solid dial. You can play him at I can't see without my glasses. 130 at 75 points. What's cool about this? He has this special defense ability that uses toughness. Okay, yay! But Captain Atom can use regen as a free action, and the D6 can't be re-rolled. When he does, and the roll is a 1, deal 2 penetrating damage to each character within 3 squares, then KO him. So you're literally rolling the dice on this one. You could blow up your 130-point character if you roll like I do. And then he's got a special damage ability. Captain Atom can use enhancement and leadership. But he's a solid dial from beginning to end. He's well-rounded. For 130 points and being a common, he's definitely a playable piece.
All right. Well, on that, I definitely want to take a look at Cersei. We already had a Mystics in the form of Dr. Fate. Cersei looks rather wonderful. She does have a very, very solid trait here. As we were talking earlier about animals, animals are her domain, apparently. As an animal-themed team may include Cersei and still be a theme team. Something.
So you're saying she could be the master of my dog team?
That would be the way to go.
Somebody's got to hold the leash.
Go ready on that, yeah. But beyond that, right off her opening click, she has Master of Men. Animals aren't the only thing that she's a champion of. As she can use mind control, and when she does, she isn't dealt unavoidable damage from mind control, which is one of the biggest flaws you'll run into using mind control. Not a common one, but admittedly one that I feel hurts you more often than not in this game. You have the Mystics team ability, which is really solid, 7 range, 2 lightning bolts. She has a good number of clicks for just being 115 points. But one of the other things, once again, going with that animal theme, comes to with her damage ability, which is Queen of the Bestial Army. Cersei can use leadership and mastermind. When she uses leadership and succeeds, she may choose an adjacent friendly character 75 points or less, and then one of the following: Battle Fury, Blades, Claws, Fangs, or the Flight ability. That character can use the chosen ability or power this turn. Once again, if you're running that animal team, those are some abilities that can really help you out. So, not the most traditional piece that you'd want to use, but there's some great abilities if you're going for that animal theme team that really we haven't seen since Beast Boy, another great DC figure.
All right, well, let's actually talk about the animal friend Crypto for that animal dog theme team we were talking about. So Crypto, he is animal, Kryptonian, and Metropolis. So a couple of good keywords for him to be on. So his trait is when a friendly character named Superman, Superboy, or Supergirl is within 8 squares, they take damage from an attack. After actions resolve, Crypto can immediately jump into the square adjacent to the attacking character. So really, he can hop over to the action. He's ready to go for that next turn. His white foot gives him charge and plasticity, so even better. He hops over there, and now they're not going anywhere. So. He also, standard that we've seen with a lot of the animals, like Doc Cool and stuff, is not Doc Cool, and it might be the animal ATA, but Crypto ignores opposing characters' shape change. So now with the animals, you're ignoring shape change, you ignore stealth, a lot of good options there.
So what is the ability called for ignoring shape change on there? Because I just imagine it's got to be like Crypto Snout or something.
Well, it is called Kryptonian Nose.
Kryptonian Nose.
Close enough.
All right, we're going to look at the chase now. The chase Batman, Comrade Batman here. And I was really looking forward to seeing this. I'm glad we pulled this. And my initial thought when I saw it was, wow, style's not that impressive. But then I looked, it's only 55 points. And his style, the numbers on his style are not that impressive. But that's not what he's about. This guy here is going to destroy your other team, your opponent's abilities. His big thing, his damage ability, his damage special, is Batman can use Outwit. When he does, you may counter any number of powers that character possesses. You're going to wipe your opponent's dial completely. You're going to take every color it's got and say, no, can't use those. And for 55 points, that's huge. So some of these abilities are really nasty. He also ignores elevation, and bombs planted everywhere is his trait. Each time an opposing character destroys an object or printed blocking terrain, or KOs a character of 25 points or more, after action resolved, roll a d6. On 5 or 6, deal that opposing character 1 penetrating damage.
And I mean, that seems like it'd be something that goes great with that Parallax Hal Jordan from War Light.
Yep. Also, I do notice, does it look like he actually doesn't have the Batman team ability?
He doesn't. The keywords on there are Red Sun and Spy.
And also the team ability.
Oh, the team ability? No, there is no team ability at all on this clip.
It's interesting. Although, that's going to be a little unique putting together some theme teams because most of the Red Sun characters presented were not in any way allies, but they're going to make for some interesting theme teams throughout this. But speaking of which, let's go for a villain because I feel we've not done a villain properly yet. Cersei, yes, somewhat of a villain, but let's go for a rather dark Superman character here, Hel. Once again, a new 52 character, Kryptonian. Surprisingly, though, as big of a character as you expect this to be, 150 points or 100-point options, not indomitable. Fortunately, not indomitable. He does see through hindering terrain, which is always valuable, and what you'd expect with the Kryptonian keyword. He does have the scientist keyword, not something you expect from somebody who's shirtless, but also has the wait, that's not Superman trait. You can trade him out, and that's always good. He has a great amount of hypersonic, impervious, all the Kryptonian things. His unique damage ability is going to be brilliant and twisted. That's actually the title. I'm not just saying it. Allowing Hel to use Perplex. But when he uses it to target an opposing character after actions resolve, he can either use Outwit targeting that character or use Perplex a second time to target himself. That might be a little bit useful, but once again, he's just lacking that indom. I just don't see this guy being used as much as I would hope he would. When you start out with a dial that has 11 movement, hypersonic, 11 super strength, 18 impervious, and 4 with that great combination of Perplex plus Outwit or Perplex plus Perplex. It's a good piece, but it has the potential to be so much more, unfortunately.
There's a Rocket Raccoon that works that way, isn't there? That if you perplex somebody, you can perplex your the same stat on you the other direction.
Yeah, that's the movie Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's right.
When he perplexes an opponent, he can perplex them.
That's right.
Maybe I think it's time we should talk about, her name is in the set. We've seen a lot of Superman characters, a couple of villains and such. But let's actually talk about Wonder Woman herself. So this is the 125-point uncommon version of Wonder Woman. Pretty nice start line, actually. She's got 11 attack, with super strength we're seeing a lot of, and 4 damage, 18 imper. Sadly, no indom, which you kind of hope you get for a Wonder Woman or a Superman, but, what can you do? But she does have a really great trait that we've seen coming out in this set called the odds are against me. So you have your weight, that's not Superman trait, but the other nice one is, especially for a character like Wonder Woman, whereas when she is outnumbered and given a non-free action, she can get an outnumbered token on her card. And when she has 2 of those, you can give her a free action and remove 2 of them to make a close or ranged combat attack, which is huge. So, it's very fitting of the character. They're always fighting against bigger odds than themselves, but taking down them. So being able to see that put it into character is nice to see it really.
Do something on par with that really, really great War Machine Prime we saw back in Iron Man, with less effort than Force, actually.
Oh, and I'm horrible. She has another trait where she can remove 1 of her outnumbered and she can use willpower instead. So she does have a way of getting it. So not as bad as I originally thought. Really excited to see that piece in action.
As we're also talking about Wonder Woman, we may as well go with her more minion-like ally, the Amazon. Obviously, she comes from Themyscira, if I'm pronouncing it remotely correct. I do have a Greek on hand to confirm, and he's saying I'm doing it right. We got the thumbs up on that.
The gallery's giving us some thumbs up there.
Okay. But at 45 points, she's a good assisting piece there. She has the Amazon keyword, which is wonderful if you're trying to make a team with Wonder Woman. She has the Warrior keyword, once again, wonderful if you're working for a Wonder Woman theme team. And a really great trait, the Amazons of Themyscira, where when an Amazon is adjacent to one or more friendly characters with the Amazon keyword, modify her attack value by 1. As she already starts off at 45 points with a 10 attack value, 11 is obviously wonderful. Anything that exceeds 10 in this game is great, because that just makes it a much more likely hit on your opening roll. But beyond that, charge starting out, later she gets flurry, leap climb, which isn't as useful but never something to scoff at. She seems to have colors pretty much all the way around on her dial. I'm just not seeing a position where, yeah, all the way up through KO, she has a color on every one of her movement, attack, and defense, and most of her damage abilities. She has super strength, blades, claws, fangs, toughness, combat reflexes, and power. Very powerful piece for 45 points.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see, maybe in a little bit, we might have to have an Amazon Asgardian battle. We got those Asgardian soldiers from the one that has a similar trait where they band together. It'd be fun to see a Wonder Woman leading the Amazons against Thor and his Asgardian soldiers.
Very Greek versus Norse warfare. I actually really like that idea. We could have it almost, deity traded.
There you go.
Yes.
Well, I might as well stick with it, and I'll cover the other rare Wonder Woman. She also has the odds are against me trait as the other one. She's got Amazon Deity, Justice League Trinity, and Warrior keywords. Now, this is the traditional outfit. This is the outfit Wonder Woman should be wearing. That being said, she's got an ability called Divine Aura. Wonder Woman can't be targeted by outwit or probability control from an opposing character unless the targeting character has a higher point value or has the deity keyword. Now, she's 200 points. So there's not going to be that many sitting on an average field that have more than 200 points. At least not on my teams anyway. Gift of Hermes. One woman can use charge, flurry, and sidestep. Once again, sidestep's always awesome. The new Goddess of War is her attack special. At the end of your opponent's turn, deal 1 penetrating damage to each character on that player's force within 2 squares of Wonder Woman that didn't make an attack this turn. This could get ugly pretty fast.
Well, one of the things I really want to point out, I remember the first time I opened one of the Deadpool boosters and we saw Deadpool himself, and the font had to get smaller on the back of his card. He has so many abilities. And while you have a normal front for this Wonder Woman, on the back, everything gets so much smaller in that scenario. Once again, she is just packed with abilities and options right there, which is amazing. And note that this Wonder Woman is in Dawn.
And she is a powerhouse.
Yeah.
I played her. She was actually on my team earlier in the tournament when we did that. She can wreck.
Her top dial is 10 with the charge, flurry, and sidestep. Her attack is 12 with super strength, 18 with impervious, and 4 damage. So you got the super strength on. You're looking at 7 potential damage right off the top.
That's a second swing.
And the second swing, yeah. That's and Mystics as well. That's can be a game changer piece.
Well, as you were talking about ones that you played earlier tonight, and you did rather wonderfully earlier tonight, you want to talk about one of those other wonderful pieces?
Yeah. So when we did the tournament earlier, it was you pulled your team of 5. That's what you play. So most people, you had a couple people, super noob, Superman. Me, my MVP, General Lane, right here. This gentleman, 40 points, and if you can see this on his card, we were joking about it earlier. He actually looks kind of like Harrison Ford. You want to take a peek at that real quick, gents?
I can actually see that. That is a very Indiana Jones look.
So he brings an excellent trait to the table. General Lane and adjacent friendly characters can use the Superman enemy team ability. He's packed with sidesteps, so you can hop back and forth between different friends, outwit what you need to. It's just an amazing 40-point piece, and he brings enhancement and leadership. And when he uses leadership and succeeds, he is considered a higher point value than any friendly character with the soldier keyword. And for those of us that play the store, we all know I love my soldiers, so excellent addition to the soldier team.
All right. Well, given the options, I think I have to talk about Maxima. We just went with somebody who threw out a wonderful use of the Superman enemy team ability. Here's another great one. And the thing I like about Maxima is she has a very powerful trait. Her trait constantly allows her to have mind control and telekinesis. So every step of the way, she's somebody who can get your pieces where they need to be or take control of your opponent's pieces. At 125 points, in Dom, Flight, She is just wonderful. I mean, she starts out with a 10 in movement, a 10 in attack, 18 in vulnerability, and 4 with a really great damage ability that is, I've chosen you, Kryptonian. When Maxima is adjacent to a high point opposing character, or the highest point opposing character, excuse me, she can use mind control as a free action, but only to target that character. Free action mind control, as we've seen with Voodoo, was it Dr. Voodoo or Brother Voodoo?
Brother.
With Brother Voodoo, can decimate a team. But targeting specifically the highest point character, there is a lot of fun to be had, especially with an Indom character where you can do attack, mind control, attack again next turn, mind control, clear, mind control. There's a lot of fun to be had with those, and it just keeps going up. She has a fair amount of other great abilities such as charge, super strength, invulnerability, sidestep, but the free mind control as well as traded mind control is not to be missed.
As well as that team ability.
Oh yeah, and you can never go wrong with that ability to outwit.
All right, next on my list here is Lord Satanus. I'm not really impressed with him for the point value. He's 155 points. He's got mystics, brute, monster, mystical, and ruler keyword. The dial is average. Now, what makes this interesting is his 2 traits. Sibling rivalry. He's within 3 squares of a friendly character named Lady Blaze, which we haven't pulled this evening. He can use poison and willpower. Now, he is not indomed, obviously. If a friendly character named Lady Blaze has been KO'd this game, Lord Satanus can use poison and quintessence. All right, so useful, but you've got to lose a character to get it. Actually, apparently we do have a Lady Blaze.
Yeah. I was waiting for that moment somewhere in the comments we'd get a continuity error.
Yeah, that's right. So you pulled a Lady Blaze. Okay, we'll have to look at that in a minute. She looks better than him, quite honestly. Reign in Hell. Lord Satanus can use facing teleport at the beginning of your turn. If Lord Satanus is closer to the opponent's starting area than his own, choose 1. Heal him 1 damage, or Lord Satanus' powers can't be countered until your next turn. His top dial is 10 with charge, 10 with super strength, 18 with invul, and 4 with a barrier? Oh, shape change, sorry. So not bad, but for the points, he's not going to see a whole lot of play on my team.
But I'm going to throw this out there. This is where I have to be the comic shop geek really quickly. To see Lady Blaze and Lord Satanus is a real treat, because if you guys haven't actually went out and read Reign in Hell, it was one of Keith Giffen's absolute masterpieces. It is a brilliant, brilliant comic series and completely underrated. So seeing characters pulled from that is absolutely wonderful. And that's one of the things I love about Heroclix, is they will pull characters that are so obscure and bring them to the attention of fans in an absolutely wonderful way. I mean, you're not going to see DC Direct without an action figure of these characters. You're not going to see Hasbro or any of the other ones. This is a really cool thing that WizKids does, even if the stories aren't necessarily canon thanks to the New 52 or other forms.
Might as well go over Lady Blaze, so it's already brought her up. She's another one that has little tiny print. So if you're old like me, get your glasses, pal, because you're going to need it to read these. She has the sibling rivalry trait, same as Lord Satanus, but backwards. Within the 3 squares of him, she can use stealth and willpower. All right, now she's got an interesting one as well, the Devil's Bargain. When an opposing character makes an attack with an attack or damage value higher than its printed value, so if it's been perplexed or whatever else, put a bargain token on that character's card. When Lady Blaze targets a character with a bargain token on its card with an attack, she may increase a combat value by +1 for each bargain token she removes from that card. So that could be pretty good. Her starting dial is 10 with running shot, 11 with pen psych, 17 defense, and 3 with shape change. And she's 10 points less. I think her I'd play. I'm not sure I'd play them both, but it could be fun to give it a shot and see what happens.
Well, and for those of you who are really, once again, pushing into continuity, that want to run that great, Shazam-powered team, that is Shazam's daughter. So, I mean, that's up there with, dropping Black Adam and Freddie Freeman, Captain Marvel, or Mazal. Billy Batson.
Shazam!
There's another wonderful mystical piece for that unofficial team.
No, just a side note. These both have the monster keyword, and I dig that. I dig my monster teams. So maybe if we have a high point event, I could throw them both on there and a little
Little mole
golden
man in
age,
there.
a little mole man. Yeah, a little mind control. Got to dig it.
All right. Well, now you did mention earlier some of the more obscure characters that you might not see in action figure
That is
form.
obscure.
I know you have all been waiting to see our pantsless friend Bartox in action. Now, the first thing that just sticks out on this card is the first trait. He has, like some of the other characters in the set, wait, that's not Superman.
That's not Superman.
Would you really get that confused? Did you see that running by you and say, "Hey, Superman"? Oh, wait a minute, no.
You're not Superman.
I hope I'm not seeing him change clothing somewhere in a phone booth anywhere.
Oh, God. But he does have an excellent second trait along with him called give Bartox a free action and choose a standard speed, attack, or defense power that you didn't choose your last turn. Until your next turn, Bartox can use that power instead of the power in that slot of his dial. Really neat ability. We've seen it a couple of times in various forms, like in the Engineer from the Flash set or Super Skrull, the zombie form. So really interesting. He comes in the 225 point value, or you can run it over 150. Flight, Indom. Starting kick, click 11 speed with charge, 11 attack, super strength, 5 damage. So you hit somebody with an ultra heavy, that's 8 damage. 18 imperv. And he does have a special damage power he gets later on called Transfer My Strength Around. Bartox can use Perplex, and when he does, you may increase a combat value except damage by +2, and then decrease Bartox's defense by -1 until your next turn.
Well, and one of the things I have to point out with that starting dial right there, while we joke that you can see that it's obviously not Superman, with his stats, it might, because this guy's a hard one to hit. Not only does he have impervious, so there is a 33% chance that he's taking no damage, he also has shape change, which means there's a 33% chance you can't even target him with an attack. That is an amazing opening dial.
Not bad for a guy with no pants.
There you go. So what do we have over here?
All right, we're gonna go over Firstborn. Not only is his sculpt awesome, this guy's fantastic. His opening dial, he's 200 points, so he's going to be a big chunk of your build. 11 with charge, 12 with his special attack, which is strength to shatter the earth. Firstborn can use super strength, and he can use quake with a lock damage value of 3. Now his printed damage is only 4, so that's pretty good. So he's got two traits. A divine aura. Firstborn can't be targeted by outwit or probability control from an opposing character unless the target character has a higher point or the deity keyword. So same as the Wonder Woman here that we saw a little bit ago. And then he's got Scion of Hate. All characters within 3 squares can use Battle Fury. Friendly characters adjacent to Firstborn modify their attack values by +1. So he's got a lot of utility as well as just being a hard hitter. The damage on his top is also exploit. So this could be devastating. He is a giant, by the way.
Makes sense considering his size.
Well, yeah, but him, I can see playing. So he has the animal keyword too, so you can play him with your dog.
Also,
I don't know, animal brute deity.
Mentioning that he's a giant with that locked quake of 3, that means he can quake 2 squares out. So that's
right.
a bigger size quake going around, so you can hit a lot more with that.
Yeah, it would be impressive.
That is brutal.
No, that's Firstborn, not brutal.
Alright, so I think it's time for Earth 2 Batman we got right here, which is Thomas Wayne, not Bruce. Overall, kind of a standard Batman dial, leap climb, outwit, toughness, stuff of that nature. He does have the Wonders of the World keyword, so and he's only 60 points, so there you go, your lower point to go with Dr. Fee and all that. Sorry about that, folks. What really brings him out, though, is his trait, Miracle Pill. Once per game, you can give him a free action and place 3 Miracle tokens on this card. As long as a Miracle token is on the card, you can use Perplex, Super Strength, and Willpower.
You know, I got to say, once again, going into that continuity, that I also love being a big comic book fan. In Earth 2's comics, Thomas Wayne has his strength not because he trained like Bruce Wayne, but because he stole Our Man's Miracle Pills. And that was thrown in there with the trait, especially when we haven't had a Miracle Man piece in a long time. It's really fun to see that actually on a card. And especially used in such a great and relatively useful manner.
Yeah. I dig it. So 60 point, Batman of Earth 2.
I can definitely see myself using that piece. But on top of another piece I would like to see myself use Ulysses, not a character I'm really as familiar with as I'd like to be, but amazingly a solid piece. At 150 points, this guy starts out with a great starting dial. He is once again one of those, wait, that's not Superman. I don't know how you confuse him with Superman, but always a good interchangeable sideline piece. He also has unstable energy transference. This might sound a little similar to what we saw in the past. It is Ulysses ignores damage dealt by Pulse Wave and can't be targeted by penetrating Psychic Blast. This ability can't be ignored. This is one of those things, once again, we're starting to finally see a response to the penetrating Psychic Blast and Pulse Wave that has wrecked a lot of players.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that. He doesn't have any other white abilities. He unfortunately is not in Dom, but flying and opening up with Hypersonic, Super Strength, and Impervious, he has 10 on movement, 11 on attack, 17 on defense, and 4 on damage, and he has a good long dial. It is a solid, well-spent 150 points.
Well,
Yep.
all right, we got Superboy. Now, Superboy has no white abilities or traits at all. What he does have, like we mentioned during the unboxing, he's got 3 team abilities on his dial: Legion, Superman team, and Teen Titans. His dial is average, but with those team abilities all stacked up there, he's worth the 100 points you're going to spend to put him on your team. Opening dial is a 10 with charge, 10 with super strength, 18 with invincible, and 3 damage with empower. So he's the uncommon version, 100 points. He's pretty good for 100 points. He's got plenty of abilities and indom, and even gets probability control towards the end of his dial. It's worth having.
Well, then also to mention, it's Connell, as many people in the past 10 years have really gotten used to him. We have him with the traditional black t-shirt and jeans that we saw in Jeff Johns and Mike McCone's run. We saw him that way in the cartoon series recently. This is the Connor Kent that we have long wanted.
The one that we all dig from Young Justice.
This is the Superboy we deserve.
There it is.
Well, let's talk about another Superman character right here. We got Lois Lane herself.
Is Monkey already grabbing her?
He's on his way.
There.
Monkey see Lois, monkey do, right? So, she has a trait at the beginning of her turn. You may choose an opposing character within 4 in line of fire. Until your next turn, that character can't use team abilities. She comes in at 45 points and with the Superman team ability. So she is a huge, she'll be in there, she'll shut down those Batman teams, Tom's Mystic teams over there, all for 45 points. She has a couple of other abilities. She has a White Foot, which opposing characters can't draw a line of fire to Lois unless they're within 2 squares or she's adjacent to a friendly character. So as long as you keep her apart and they can't charge her or anything, they really got to get within those 2 squares to stop her. So she'll keep that team on lockdown. Also, what's classic, which we need in the Lois Lane, is she does have a white defense ability called He's Here When I Need Him. Who's that he we're talking about? Of course, it's Superman. Adjacent friendly characters named Superman can use defense. So a lot of Supermans nowadays do have defense, but there are a couple really high defense values that could really lend some help to the team by giving defense. So, and if this power is revealed when she's taking damage from an opposing character's attack, she has a stop click. 45 point,
Lois Lane with a stop click.
Lois Lane. And if you do, you may place Superman adjacent to her. So Superman's ready to get in there and save the day.
Can't knock a 45-point stop click. That's pretty great. But also, once again, one of the many unique figures we're seeing in this. It's nice to see those back again, and I mean, they're deserving of that ring based on their abilities in this. But now we're each down to our last piece, and I cannot stress enough, we did not skip to the end there. We have some wonderful pieces. I'm going to start off with Eclipso. Now, this is going to be the first time we're really seeing Possession with its new ability of, what do we want to call that again? Equipping.
Equip.
Yeah.
That's the new term.
Yeah, so we're waiting to see the new errata on that, but it looks rather interesting so far. As your traditional possessor, he has a 250-point base. He has a 25-point possessing ability that just looks amazing. And once again, the sculpt is just wonderful. I'm really digging this. But he has a great trait where he can use mind control, and when he does and hits only one character, just keep in mind he has 2 lightning bolts, you may replace any of the hit character's combat values with that of Eclipso's printed combat values until actions resolve. And with some of these stats, it's definitely worth it. His opening click is a 10 movement, 11 attack, 18 defense, 4 damage. Replacing damage on something like that with 4 can be devastating, especially when you're doing that mind control. Mystics and Quintessence, you can't go wrong. I really like the Ebony Blade of Eclipso, kind of a really rare reference from the comics, but it's Blades, Claws, Fangs, but it's also got Steel Energy, and when you roll a 5 or a 6 on that Blades, Claws, Fangs, which, as you know, is already incredibly devastating, you heal 2 damage instead of 1. Yeah, this guy's going to be a bit harder to hit, you know. He is going to be rather brutal. Once again, shape change on the opening dial and impervious, so 33% chance he's taking no damage, 33% chance he's not even getting targeted. You cannot complain with that. This is a monster of a piece.
Well, my last one here is Wraith. He's only got 2 keywords, Cosmic and Soldier. His opening dial is real nice. You can play him at 115, 100 points. This is a super rare. What he's got here, he's got focus precision, so he targets through hindering and characters, which is always kind of nice. He's got the weight, that's a Superman trait again, and he's got an absorption trait. Wraith can use toughness. Each time an opposing character damages Wraith, place 2 absorption tokens on his card. At the beginning of your turn, you may remove an absorption token and either heal Wraith 1 click or modify his attack value by +1. Now his top click there is 11 attack, 4 damage, 18 defense with willpower. Wow, that's a little hard. He's not going to be in that top click long, I don't think. And 10 with running shot. Now his last damage special, adjacent opposing characters 150 points or more modify their combat values by -1, which is pretty good. If you get it next to one of these other higher power clicks, it's gonna hurt a little bit. So he's worth playing. I can see me using him, and he does have the very unique looking sculpt that I'm really digging, and you'll see him on a couple of my teams.
Yeah. Now, you might know this. So is Wraith, I mean, he kind of looks a bit like Parasite. Is there any correlation or relation between those two? Or
You know, to be honest, that's one of those blank areas for me. It's like trait, and it looks very much like Parasite. It's a wonderful looking sculpt, but to be honest, I'm not familiar. The part that intrigues me is that police team ability. So it's one of those. I'm gonna have to go home and research the character.
Or hey, tell us in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing I have to say I really like though is that Kryptonian Spike ability that's going to knock down the 150 point plus characters down -1 on all their combat values. Because when you pay that unbelievably high cost of your team to have that 11 attack or that 18 or 19, on a Hulk or a Superman or any of those, and you lose that point on everything, that is devastating. It's just crippling. You just almost don't even want to play that character anymore for the points you put in there. So that is a brutal piece to just knock people down.
All right, and ironically, it's not the Chase we saved for last, but probably one of my favorite sculpts from this set. He's a super rare. We got Steppenwolf. Really nice looking piece here. As we mentioned earlier, he is the leader of Apocalypse's armies for Darkseid. He has a couple of traits for him. His first one is kill your greatest heroes. When a friendly character KOs the highest point opposing character, put a despair token on this card. Opposing characters modify their attack and defense by -1 for each despair on this card. When a friendly character is KO'd, remove a despair token from this card. So basically, if you can keep your people alive and you kill that higher point character, you're just going to snowball through the rest of their team.
Put them together because they need to work together.
Yeah, that
there they go.
They're going to be friends.
That'll shut down the highest pointer. So his second trait, conquering military leader of Apocalypse. When a friendly character with the Apocalypse keyword is closer to an opponent's starting area than its own and damages 1 or more opposing characters with an attack, after actions resolve, remove an action token from that character. You know, I'm sure we all have nightmares about that horrible character by the name of Tiamat who used to do stuff like that. Well, here's another one. And he's only 135 points, so you don't have to stack those points like you do on Tiamat.
And he doesn't get affected by Wraith if you're running another 2 against one another.
Exactly. So, other than that, he does, standard abilities, nothing else out of the ordinary, but some really nice numbers overall. He starts with a 13 face teleport, 11 with Blades, Claws, Fangs, And for 135 points, you're getting Indom and a 19 Invincible for defense. So good luck trying to hit this guy in the beginning.
Yeah, perplex that thing up, and he may as well be absolutely invincible.
And one of my favorite combinations when you have blades is exploit weakness, because there's always that chance you roll that 1 or 2, but at least it's confirmed through. Or hey, you roll that 6, you're slicing through that improved character and getting you closer to kill your greatest hero trait. So really great piece overall. I'm excited to see him play.
And he's a unique, right?
Yes, another unique of the set.
I mean, it's an amazing looking set so far, and there's many pieces we haven't even had a chance to look at yet. So Superman, Wonder Woman is looking great. But the one thing I really want to do now is actually play these characters. So let's go into a nice, fun series of battles. What do you guys
Fun?
say?
I'm not playing for fun.
Oh,
I'm playing to win.
Exactly.
all right. It's okay.
All right, we'll see you at the battlefield.
All right, now we're all set for this fun battle royale. I'm going to start off with my little team here of Maxima, General Lane, and that beloved Steppenwolf that I'm hoping is going to do well for me in this match.
All right, and I've got the Chase Batman, Red Tornado, Hawk Girl, Guardian, and a Newsboy Legion for that whopping 15 points.
I'm Justin Samuels from SoCal Games and Comics. I am running Lois Lane and Titano, because monkey see Lois, monkey do.
I'm Ethan. I'm running Cersei, Superboy, Crypto, Investigative Reporter, and the Atom at 15 points just to use his Colossal Retaliation.
I'm Chris, the Greek, and I'm running Vartox, Dr. Psycho, and Lana Lang.
Welcome back, guys. You saw me earlier. I'm Anthony, Sir Snarfkin on WizKids. We're rocking Superman Blue, Captain Atom, and with the Eclipso possessing him, and Investigative Reporter backing up the team.
Equipping him.
Equipping him, yes, that is our new glossary term.